about do to get into precisely what I am about to do. I'm conversating to the folks who have no whatsoever clue. So listen very carefully as I break it down for you. Merrily, 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 hyper, happy, overjoyed. Please, with all the beats and rhymes my sisters have employed. Slick and smooth, throwing down the sound, totally a yes. Let me state the position. Ladies first, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, there's gonna be some changes made here.
Believe me when I say being a woman is great, you see. I know that all the fellas out there will agree with me. Not for being one, but for being with one. Cause when it's time for loving, it's the woman that gets them strong. Stepping, strutting, moving on, rhyming, cutting, and not forgetting. We are the ones to give birth to the new generation of prophets, cause it's ladies first.
I break into a lyrical freestyle. Grab the mic, look at the crowd and see smiles. Cause they see a woman standing up on her own too. Sloppy slouching is something I won't do. Some think that we can't flow. Stereotypes, they got to go. I'ma mess around and flip the scene into reverse.
With what?
With a little touch of ladies first. You must be blind if you don't believe. Well, here, listen to this rhyme. Ladies first, there's no time to rehearse. I'm divine and my mind expands throughout the universe. A female rapper with a message to send. The Queen Latifah is a perfect specimen.
My sister, can I get some?
Sure, Moni Love, grab the mic and get dumb.
Yo, praise me not for being simply what I am. Born in L-O-N-D-O and sound American. You dig exactly where I'm coming from. You want righteous rhyming, I'ma give you some. To enable you to age yourself and get paid. And the material that has no meaning, I wish to slay. Pay me every bit of your attention, like mother, like daughter. I would also like to mention, I wish for you to bring me to the rhythm of which is now systematically given. Desperately stressing, I'm the daughter of a sister who's the mother of a brother who's the brother of another. Plus one more. All four have a job to do. We doing it respect due to the mother who's the root of it. And next up is me, the MONIELOVE, and I'm first cause I'm a LAZIE.
Contact and in fact, the style it gets harder. Cooling on the scene with my European partner, laying down track after track, waiting for the climax. When I get there, that's when I tax the next man or the next woman. It doesn't make a difference. Keep the competition coming, and I recite chapter in verse. The title of this recital is Ladies First.
All right, y'all, that was Ladies First by Queen Latifah and Moni Love. What you guys know about that? All right, I'm so excited to have our guest today. I'm very, very thrilled. Before she comes on, I want to give her the proper introduction. So, Dr. T.L. Osborne is a local college and online professor, and lecturer, author, mentor, and hip-hop enthusiast. Dr. Osborne has been involved in the hip hop movement and research aspects of the culture for over 2 decades. Dr. T.L. Osborne, since 2006, has been teaching a course at the Community College of Baltimore County dedicated to learning about the history of hip hop. And just this past fall, 2016 semester, Dr. Osborne, with the support of the department, specifically supervisor and deans, created and launched an online version of the course called The History of Hip Hop. The course was so successful that the course is now part of the college enrollment every semester and is currently filled up to capacity for this semester, spring 2017. Along with traditional in-person courses. Yes, that was a mouthful. Dr. T, are you on the line?
Yes, I am on the line. Thank you so much for having me, Ms. Kendall Denise, aka First Lady.
I am so thrilled to have you here. Guys, let me tell you, listeners that are hearing me right now on the radio, Life Enhancement Radio, Dr. T used to be my professor. I took her class and I absolutely loved her class. I got an A too, y'all, but I earned that.
To the great students that finished the class with A's, right?
Right, because let me tell you something about Dr. T. She does not play. Okay, so that A wasn't given to me just because, you know, we're cool and I like her and she likes me. Trust me, I earned that. She was the kind of professor that said, okay, let's skip seats. I remember that, like, you can't sit next to anyone when we're taking the test. Like, she didn't play. She was fun. She was cool. But the lady is a doctor of education, y'all. So this is like, it's not a what they call them, bird courses. It's not a bird course. You work and you learn. And I still talk about your course all the time. And when I had my other radio show, I was trying to get you on and I was like, I got to get you on. We've been going back and forth for a long time.
We were.
But welcome. You're here now. That's the most important thing. Welcome to Life Enhancement Radio.
Oh, yes, that is the most important thing. And it's actually coincidentally purposeful because it is the 2-year anniversary of the release of my publication. So thank you for having me at this particular time.
Yes, and you know what? I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you, seriously, because I remember when you writing this book was just a notion. And you were like, I'm going to write a book. And everyone's like, yeah, you should write a book. And you have 2 now. So tell the viewers, I say viewers because I'm used to being on, being seen, you know, but tell the listeners about your books. We'll just jump right off into that.
Okay, well, the book is a 2-part series, and it's basically, both books are called the Hip Hop Lectures. And volume 1 is dedicated to the past, the history, everything for the most part from Africa up until sort of the soul era. And then volume 2 is everything 1970s New York up until now. And basically the book was modeled after the course that I teach. And like you said, a lot of students that took the class always loved the content and was interested, you know, in figuring out how to have that to be able to share beyond the class. And coincidentally, around 2013 or 2014, I had a student named Vito in my class in the summer session, and he loved the class and the material, and he just walked up to me and said, Dr. T, if you do not write this book, I'm going to steal the information and publish it myself.
Oh, wow.
So he jokingly said it, but it really made me, you know, hunker down as when I was teaching up until 2012, I was working on my doctorate, so it was hard to actually sit down and take all of those notes and papers you would see me shuffling when I stood to give, you know, certain lectures and actually sit and put it down in a publication. So, I mean, the parts of the book basically was designed for individuals that take the class and those who don't get a chance to take college classes but are interested in the history of the hip-hop culture and how its roots started and evolved over time.
Wow. I mean, and it's amazing. And you know how some people become doctor because they get the honorary doctorate degree.
Right.
You earn yours.
Yeah. Just like you earned yours. All the energy and passion you put in, like, yo, I didn't just get this A, I earned it. Yes, ma'am. That's how I feel with my degree. And I understand why people that have their doctorates kind of, you know, take it personal when people, you know, play with the title or say they have it and they don't, or, you know, even when you're a doctoral student, making sure you say doctoral student and not doctor.
Right.
Because the work that gets put in, you know, is definitely important. But absolutely, definitely earned and, you know, hopefully gain respect in terms of my craft and just the information that I'm seeking to share.
Absolutely. So Leroy, typically he and I do the show together. He's my business partner in several different ventures, but he's also one of the hosts. he and we do Life Enhancement Radio. But when he saw your picture, he was like, she looks real young. He said, but I know she can't be that young if she, 2 decades, that's, 20 years.
Including growing up, I literally grew up in hip hop culture. So when I say grew up, I mean exposed at 6, 7, and 8 years old. So, I'm in my 30s, my early 30s. So I'm still technically, young and definitely young at heart, but most certainly in terms of the culture, being a part of it, not necessarily when it began, but sort of as it began to rise and having an older sister exposing me to it. I've been listening to hip-hop and participating in the culture in various ways for a while.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I remember being in your class and I'm like, okay, it was a couple of us old ladies in there that, were out. We remember like literally when it hit the street. And I remember, sharing a couple of stories here and there because, I was talking. You already know I was getting my participation points.
Yes, which is the highest part of my class.
Right. But it was so fun to participate. And I remember the little, games that we played, around the room and everything. I speak very highly, as I said, of your class. And I remember, you talking about certain things in the class. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember when that came out. That's when I was like, oh, I think I'm old. I know I'm older than the professor. But you can tell. But you can tell that, you did your research. And I love the class because a lot of people, of course, I was there, of course, not in the Bronx or, when it started, but just around in 1979, 78, I was a child when it started. So it was always around. But I like what you do for the younger people that weren't there. Like you take it all the way back to, our ancestors. You take it back, to the African culture. Why do you do that? Why do you start from the very beginning? Why not just start from 1978?
That's a great question, Kendall. I definitely start all the way back from Africa because even before teaching, I am well aware that everyone has a different level of knowledge about history and about hip-hop culture. And for some people, the only information they have is what they see or hear on TV. And then you have individuals like you who are part of the culture in its beginning sort of stages and its youthful stages. And then it's people that have no idea about the culture. And so I think it's easier to start with Africa and specifically the value of drumming and dancing, because when you look at it from an African perspective, that's something that's innate. Not just to African culture, but it's very innate to the culture. But also a lot of different cultures incorporate dance and drumming within their different elements. And so I think starting with that bridges a lot of different people together to understand just the fun and just expressing yourself in dance and emotions and not being hindered. And so starting from there and just going through the history and sort of glances or limited lenses allows for everybody to get and put the pieces together that they either heard or never knew about. And by the time we talk about hip-hop, what I love saying about students each and every semester is once they connect the dots, they're like, oh my goodness, this is either something that already existed in terms of some of the elements you see in hip-hop. You see it evolve, you see it become creative, you see it recycle, and they're excited because they're like, I just listened to the music or I just love the beat. I didn't know the depth that it was an actual culture that, infused so much in it and motivated so many people to, do something greater and better. So, that's really why I start there as opposed to New York specifically, just because I want to bridge and sort of build everybody up to that New York time frame.
I love that. I mean, that's, to me, I love that. And I'll tell you why. First, I missed the class. I do. When it was over, I was in mourning. I was feeling some type of way because I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, Dr. T's class, because it was so cool. One of the, I'm at UB now, but one of the students that was in your class, she goes to UB too. I can't think of her name. She was the other lady around my age. She sat right in front of me. I mean, it was a while ago, but it's so